Appreciate you guys getting up this morning. Hope everyone's had a good week. I know the summer is winding down, so hopefully you guys get some rest before either school starts back or students come back or duties get sort of a little bit more. I'll be moderating today. I'll give everyone maybe one more minute and see, and then we'll get started here.
Okay, I'll be back in a moment.
Okay. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started here, and if more people come in, they can catch up a bit. Let me share my screen. Excuse me, I'm one of those people who always has 1,000 tabs open, so you guys will enjoy a little view of that. So first, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Sharita Hutchins. I'm a rising third-year student in the GGB theme and GBS. I'm currently in Dr. Liz Worthy's lab, and I'm the co-chair of this year's Data Science Hackathon. I think this year is going to be a great continuation of prior years. Some of you may be new to hackathons or UAB's hackathons. So we're hoping that today's session gives some background information about this hackathon, prior hackathons, and also gives you all an opportunity to sort of touch bases with other people, ask questions to us, either about projects or what the hackathon will be like for you. So what is Hackinomics? We toyed around with a lot of different titles this year. We weren't sure where we wanted to head with that, but someone came up with this. Hackinomics is the 4th annual Data Science Hackathon at UAB by UBright. And the theme is, as you could guess, multi-omics downstream analysis for the discovery of novel translational findings and development of new tools using existing public data sets. That's a mouthful, right? In general, about hackathon is a bit of a, I guess you could call it a practical session where you have people from various backgrounds related to biology and surrounding computational biology. That can be people who are in computer science. That could be people who are complete wet lab researchers. That could be staff scientists, PhDs, mentors, various fields and backgrounds coming together and working towards using programming and knowledge, domain expertise, towards a project that's hopefully innovative, different, new, over a short period of time. In this process, a biohackathon came from just a regular hackathon, right? Where in the computer science world, developers would come together to work towards a very specific goal or a broad goal to move forward a project or an idea or a piece of software. And typically what came out of those hackathons was this one network of people now who've now worked with each other, who've learned things from each other. So they've connected and they're probably working together again in the future because of that. And another thing that came out of that was really unique ideas. When you're bringing together people from different backgrounds, it tends to spur a lot of innovation because you have a lot of different thoughts from different angles and perspectives. And they found that typically brought upon software that was unique and popular and fit a lot of needs. So this year's hackathon, right now we have over 100 people that have registered. It'll be roughly 39 hours. It'll start that Friday, August 5th at 9 a.m. or so, and it'll run until Saturday midnight. Obviously, you're gonna sleep if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But that's usually the spirit of the hackathon. It will be virtual this year due to COVID, of course, and just taking precautions. And obviously, everyone is welcome. So we want people from various experience levels and backgrounds to be involved in this. Programming or having programming experience is not going to be a barrier for you to be able to contribute. And anytime through this presentation, you all are more than welcome to hop in and ask questions. So this hackathon is being hosted by or promoted by UBright. So UBright is a group, the biomedical or UAB Biomedical Research Information Technology Enhancement. So the goal of UBright is really to bring together researchers at UAB who are doing data science related work and make it easier for those researchers to, one, work together, two, to get access to clinical or genomic data sets, and as well as to provide sort of a framework for doing that and a process for doing that that's easy. It's really about building community here. And the two leaders or directors of UBright are Dr. Jake Chen and Dr. James Semino. I put a link there and we'll share the slides after this, a demo of UBright that you all can take a look at and get a feel. But UBright is sort of encompassing all of the informatics groups here at UAB, including the Informatics Institute, CCTS, CHIA, and trying to push forward the informatics community. I posted a publication here as well. The first hackathon that was hosted here at UAB, they did publish about some of those insights, and essentially that was the formation of UBright. So just a shameless plug, if you haven't registered, please do register. The deadline is a little less than a week from now. And we have this QR code. So if you give anybody a couple seconds, I think most of the names I saw are people who are registered. So, yeah. Okay. So what are our goals in this hackathon? I think I've said this in so many words already, but we want to broaden the collaborative community here at UAB, and as well as abroad. We want researchers here to get a chance to work with people at other universities who are interested in some of the same either techniques or the same ideas. And we really want to push that aspect of UAB forward. We know that COVID has made it a lot more difficult to collaborate with others, to interact with others. And we're hoping that this hackathon, especially for the informatics community, can continue to push it forward. We also want to enable teams to achieve various outcomes. A hackathon doesn't have to just be coding. I've been part of hackathons where it's, let's write out something. Let's do a tutorial. Let's show people how to do things. Let's develop pipelines. Let's put together tools that haven't been put together before. Let's do a novel analyses. Let's take in a data set or various data sets or databases, and let's try to analyze them in a way that no one's done before. There's tons of data out there that, and it's really about what questions you can ask. And eventually we hope that these projects will be able to be published either in one publication with all of the projects, or also allowing teams to continue their projects after the hackathon and eventually publish their results. We also want people to develop and advance some existing projects. Perhaps there's an idea you have that you want to do in your lab and you're not really able to do that because you've got a lot of other things that you have to do, or maybe it's not part of your aims, but it's something you're interested in. This is also the opportunity to sort of either jump on a project that's doing that, or to propose a project idea where you can do that. And perhaps you can show your mentor, or you can, push forward a grant if you're a postdoc, or there's lots of ways to use hackathons. And that's one way that a lot of people do is, hey, I have this idea and I just want to see if it would or could work. Raul?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. I have experienced this hackathon last year, and I participated in many hackathons. What's making it different is that you come up with your own idea. In general, hackathons are to solve one idea, one problem. And this is we are still, I think the team is not publicizing that, but this is a strong point of a hackathon, which is open. You come up with your own idea, your own strength. So we are not challenging you, you are challenging the evaluators. So that's the best thing that we have here. I just wanted to make a point on that.
Thank you, Raul. I think that's a great point he brings up is, you're coming up with something new. You're wanting to push the field forward. You're wanting to be innovative here. I think that's an important point. Thank you, Raul. And lastly, I think we're really hoping that this event, especially this year, we can continue to provide those opportunities for training and networking. And with training as, the workshops and being exposed to UBright and Pager and other tools here at UAB that you can use for these downstream analyses, and also getting some exposure with Git, GitHub, Chia, cloud computing potentially. We really want to help the researchers here learn some of the cutting edge tools and ways that people are performing informatics work. And additionally, we'll likely have an abstract workshop as well. So that's something to look forward to, especially either with your projects and in general, learning how to write abstracts and getting some helpful tips on that, I think will benefit everyone. A projected timeline of events. These dates are, we do have these set in stone outside of a couple. As you can see, the deadline is for registering is the 21st. Once we're able to take a look at the different proposals that have been submitted, we'll send approval and notification of those on the 25th. And on that same day, we'll also be letting participants know that they've been selected and allow those participants to select up to 3 teams that they would like to be on. Data set submission, which is mainly for team leaders, will be on at the end of that week on the 29th. That week will also include, so the 27th is a good, and 29th are 2 good days to go ahead and put in your calendar. The 27th we'll have Blake Joyce, who's over Chiha here. They'll be doing an intro to cloud, high performance computing, and Git and GitHub. So if you don't have a GitHub account, you're not familiar with Git, this is a good way to be exposed to that and learn how to get set up there, as well as cloud computing and high performance computing if you don't have experience with those. Then we'll have a UBright bootcamp on July 29th, and that'll feature Dr. Jake Chin and his lab and some of their tools that are really good for downstream analysis. And on August 1st, we'll announce teams. And on that day, everyone will get a link to the Slack and all the channels and start communicating. And that's a good time to really start, I think, planning out your ideas. So, and from there, the hackathon will be on the 5th and 6th. And we're planning the hackathon showcase likely for that next week. We're still working on finding the date, and also considering the idea of having a social event perhaps that next week as well. So any questions about that?
Just one question.
Yes.
Do we have to submit the proposal? Because last year I didn't submit any proposal, but I was able to participate.
So we're pushing hard, and we do want, yes, people to submit proposals by that date. Mainly because we want to help those team leaders a little more this year, making sure that data sets are there and that ideas are a little bit better fleshed out. With proposal selection, that'll really be unless ideas just way out of the scope, which we don't suspect will be the case. That'll really be an opportunity for our steering committee, Drs. Jake Chin, Zetchin Chong, Liz Worthy, and others to get an idea of the projects, and if they have any feedback for those, to provide them at that point so that we can bring that information back to team leaders and they can sort of refine and enhance their ideas, and then jump into sort of doing that same thing with those teams. So it's kind of a light filter there, I think, and helping people sort of have a little broader, a better sense of what they're hoping to get out of the hackathon. So yeah, we would like for you to submit it by the 21st. If you can't, do reach out to us. We want as many project ideas that we can get, but we also want them to be, you know, a little more developed than just a one-liner this year. We're hoping to really advance things a little more, hopefully. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
But yes, please, you know, if you have more questions about that or have some ideas about a project, do reach out to us, and I'll talk about that a little later. We have a couple of ideas that have been submitted by some PIs.
Is there educational qualification needed?
Absolutely not. No, we want any and everybody can submit a project. There's no barrier for that.
For the participants, because I'm mentoring few students and they are damn intelligent, and I want them to experience a hackathon.
Please, absolutely.
Those are high school students. You won't even believe that how efficient they are.
I could believe it. We're open to all of that. Whoever wants to attend, let's bring them in. Whether they're in industry, whether they're high school, college.
That's great.
Yes. So if you know some people, please have them register. Yeah, I think most people would be surprised at the level of knowledge that uh some people much younger than us have on these topics, because they're being taught it at such a younger age and getting a chance to experience it, and their
My
minds are
experience is
just,
completely different.
yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I'm kind of stuck with my own ideas. I don't have fresh ideas. So where to go? I'm going to the high school students. Just
That's
talk to them and they come up with such an amazing ideas. My God.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So yes, absolutely. Please bring them on board. We'd love that. We love that.
Yeah, I'm just doing it right now.
Yeah, so yeah, somewhat of a tentative daily schedule. So on the first day we'll have some opening remarks by our steering committee, which includes Doctors James Semino and Dr. Jake Chen. And then we'll do team check-ins, and then we'll have teams break out into Zoom rooms where you guys can, hop on Zoom, talk through your ideas, start working through your ideas. And there will be optional workshops, most likely each day. Like I mentioned, the one about abstract writings to sort of help with that. But yeah, and we'll also be having everyone and other people available for everyone to sort of, if you're getting stuck either with an idea or you're getting stuck with some of the technical stuff, we'll have people there to help with that. Any questions about sort of the tentative daily schedule for that? No. Okay. So what is multi-omics? I mean, I think most of you guys know what that is. It's got many names. You can call it pan-omics, transomics, integrated or integrative omics, but multi-omics is combining typically 2 or more omics data sets to perform data analysis and try to understand underlying mechanisms. I think that term is going to start changing, and we're going to start using different words. And I said that because we have a lot of people who do machine learning or AI or neuroimaging. And although those techniques aren't an omics data set, it is adding a layer right onto just a basic omics analysis. If you take a genome and you sequence it, you have to do some basic technical things already, right? You have to run quality control, run it against a reference genome, so on and so on. So you're already using underlying technology with any omics. And so when you're bringing in machine learning or imaging, other forms of that, other algorithms, those are really adding additional layers. So we definitely are open-minded about what you consider multi-omics, but typically it's two data sets. And 2 data sets could be a database, right? It could be a drug interaction database. That other data set could be a transcriptomics, RNA-seq data set. It could be metabolomics. It could be microbiome data. It could be single cell data and bulk RNA-seq data combining that. It could be GTEx, right? It could be TCGA. It could be a number of those data sets, combining them. And it usually does include machine learning or artificial intelligence. It doesn't have to, right? But you're always using some sort of method or something else to help you bring together those data sets or harmonize them in a way. And one of the reasons we're taking this approach, right, we're seeing a big uptick, in data, and a big uptick in people attempting to use various types of data to better understand human disease. So there's a huge need for new ways to understand disease and new ways to understand how we put those data sets together. And that's not even added on just phenotype data or clinical data to that, right? Because you also have that. So yeah, this is sort of the big part of why we're doing this hackathon and why we're taking this approach. Almost all omics is multi-omics now anyway, to be quite honest. So this is a pretty good figure that I found in a recent paper on bioRxiv. This is a great way from a cancer perspective to look at multi-omics, but you could add a number of diseases onto this, right? You could look at this in Alzheimer's, right? Look at subtypes. You could look at neurodegenerative diseases or cardiology or cardiometabolic traits and things of that nature. But you want these multiple omics layers. You want to arrange them or normalize them or scale them towards each other, whether that's copy number variants, gene expression, mutation, DNA methylation, the epigenome. And then you want to figure out, you know, in a lot of cases, you might want to look at how does that relate with deep learning? How can we use deep learning to integrate these data sets? And here on the right, you're looking at, you know, how do we classify cancer across all cancers? Can we find subtypes within? Can we find, you know, within a specific cancer? Maybe it's ovarian cancer, maybe it's breast cancer. Can we model clinical features? Can we look at drug response, right? Or drug targets? There's so many ideas that you can come up with for a hackathon like this. So this is one way I just wanted to sort of showcase one example, very broad example as well. So developing a project, and like I said, you guys, please feel free to jump in here. So we want data sets to be publicly available because this will be, these projects will be public facing and easy to access. We want proposals to be geared towards downstream analysis, but doesn't have to be limited to that. It could be tool development, it could be pipeline development, hypothesis generation, it could be a tutorial, it could be very simply you're bringing in data and you found some really cool tools you want to try on it and you're doing analysis that way. Maybe you even just bring in a gene list. You might have that. There's tons of tools out there that will just take differentially expressed genes. Proposals, once we get to the actual hackathon and teams are selected, you know, you want your proposal also be open enough that it does allow that input from team members. That time leading up to the hackathon, you want to be able to sort of brainstorm more ideas and allow your team members to go on their own down their own rabbit holes, perhaps, on figuring out, you know, different aspects of the project that they're interested in. It does not need to be a fully formed idea, of course. We're not expecting people to have like a specific aims page. That's not reasonable. We want this to be fun, and we want people to just sort of come up with crazy science ideas and see if they can actually apply them. Also, you know, for developing a project, you want to identify some available tools or clinical data repositories as well, if you can find those. But there's a ton of tools out there. We will be linking to tools and some open data sets here, hopefully today or by Monday on our website. So here's just an example project proposal. I posted this. This is posted on our website as well. So you can head to our website, and if you go to the registration link, there's a link there to this. But I think this gives a good overview of kind of just what you need, and really you could use less words, but maybe 2 or 3 sentences for description and significance You're wanting to identify your proposal, sort of like a very basic idea, which is your project title, a catchy team name. Doesn't have to be catchy. And then your description, that's where you want to sort of say, I want to do X, Y, Z, or I think I want to look at gene ontology, or I want to look at like drug targeting, and I want to use this database or this database. That's kind of what we're looking for in these project proposals. Anyone can submit a project proposal. One of the things I like to do in my own research and that I think is applicable here is take a paper you like and that maybe something you want to do and apply it, right? This is like an example of doing it, and tweak it. Maybe you want to look at additional databases or other databases. Maybe you want to look at a different disease and apply that same method because no one's done it before. Project proposals can be things like that. In fact, that's often what you see in most biohackathons is people going, well, I saw this person did this, but what if we did this with this disease? Or what if we did this and looked at a group of diseases or similar diseases? Or what if we did this and tweaked the methods to a newer database or a database that's different or looked at a different angle? So it's very open-ended, right? It doesn't have to be thesis ready or thesis driven, right? This is just you wanting to have fun and think of science and get back to the roots of, why we're all where we are, essentially. Any questions here?
How many pages do we have to?
So the registration form, and we'll send a link here as well to the project idea form. It's really just a simple 4 or 5 question form and just typing up a couple ideas in there. So it's very low pressure. I want to say, let's see if I can. I'm gonna try to get that link.
Generally, a proposal requires some input. A vision document. It's a kind of vision document. So
yeah, you if you want to go to that level, it's certainly we certainly won't we certainly allow that. But if you want to keep it fairly broad, that also is perfectly fine. We definitely, there's no pressure to, make this what word would I use? And I'll link that project proposal form here. There's no pressure to make this more than it has to be, right? There's no pressure to turn it into the next big, I guess, tool. At least not right now, right? It's really, do you have like an idea? Can you come up with like a fairly simple idea and write 1 or 2 sentences about what it is and what you'll be using with it. So what do you want to do, and what kind of data sets are you going to look at, or databases, or what kind of tools might you like to use? So yeah, it can be just that simple. If you want to go even further than that, yeah, that's totally fine too. One of the things we want too is, we want people to come in there with at least sort of I think, a framework kind of what they want to do. Because I think this allows team members, especially people who may not have as much experience, to take a little piece, run with that. And then typically when they start running with it, they start to understand it better and like, oh, okay, well, I could do this, or maybe we could do this, or maybe we could do that. So it's definitely open-ended in that way. So I want to touch on a couple of our prior hackathon projects, one from last year, one from the year before. The year before was Team Rico, Risk of COVID. And their overall goal was to adapt a credit scorecard sort of model used in financial industry to create a web app that will help advise people on whether or not they should be tested for COVID. This project was published eventually in Frontiers of Big Data, which is pretty great. It's a great testament, I think, to what could come out of this hackathon. And the team members were our chair and a few other people who are noteworthy in our bioinformatics community here at UAB. You can watch the team's presentation. You can check out that paper as well. And we'll, like I said, we'll make these slides available. We also have Team Kinon, right? They won last year. They had a great project and their tool is still up and running and very cool. Development of genomic profiling signatures, which is a big new field. It's profiling signatures that associate with kinase inhibitor sensitivity in glioblastoma. So this was a very cool project that was put together by Dr. Joshua Anderson here at UAB as well. So these are just two different, very different, I think, examples, both apps, but very different approaches and very different, I think, end goals, but both ended up being very successful during the hackathon and also after the hackathon. And I think it gives you sort of an idea, perhaps, of, you don't need to have all the nuts and bolts figured out of your idea, but having like a general idea coming into it is a really good start for advancing it forward and getting people some needed experience and whatnot. So I posted here just a few questions to consider that I think helps a few people and hopefully will help a few people with submitting a project idea. One of those questions that I think is that I think I've touched on all of these actually. How can we use existing tools or develop new tools to drive discovery or new insights? There's a lot of existing tools out there that I would say probably an overload of tools in the informatics world. How can we use those with various different data sets? Maybe it's a disease you're interested in. But I think these are some questions that if you're trying to figure out whether you want to submit a project, and I suggest, and I think everyone should, I will be submitting one because I'm curious to see where my ideas will lead. And you know what? You're in science. One of the things we don't like to do is fail, but you're supposed to. How can you grow and learn as a researcher if your ideas are sometimes not go well? And I would say that's probably most of the scientific process is trying stuff that doesn't work or doesn't go how you expected. But that should never stop us from having new ideas, from pursuing new perspectives, because it helps us to learn when we do that, when we ask questions. So I talked a little bit about teams, and so team formation. Here's just a little bit of an overview. Teams will consist of around 8 people. Since we do have, like I said, we have a lot of participants. In most cases, you don't expect all people to actually show up the day of, but considering how many people we have signed up, we're expecting the teams to be around that number. We will consult with team leaders on sort of their preferred skill sets and if they've talked to, maybe they have lab mates who they want to be on their team. But overall, the process will largely be, what are those 3 teams that participants are most interested in? And then sorting people out based on, what their preferences were and making sure that we have really dynamic and unique teams that are going to be able to help each other towards these projects. Any questions there? So just some quick facts here. we talk about what the expectations are, and because we want more people to be team leaders. I don't think that anyone should be afraid of that. Whether that's a PhD student, an undergrad, a high school student, principal investigator, postdoc, whoever, all those people are valid to be team leaders. You don't need to have the most knowledge. You just need to have an idea. And if you want help with an idea, all of us are available, from our steering committee to myself, to Rune, and the rest of our organizing committee, to help with that, because we've been lucky to have the help of some external advisors who've done a lot of biohackathons, and they also have a ton of ideas. So should you be interested, please do reach out about that. But for team leaders, I think the biggest expectation is just sort of like readiness, a little bit of understanding the GitHub, which we will provide you with. And also just being able to, when it comes time for the hackathon, is, delegate and figure out what people's interests are, and help them sort of go that way, while you also dive into your own interests. So that's really the goal of the team leader, is just to sort of make sure that no one's drowning during the hackathon, because you will have people of various experience levels. And so there may be some people who are struggling, that you have to, say, hey, because you help that person, or hey, let me help this person, or you might need to ask for help. So I think that, for a team leader, that's something to, maybe the biggest thing to keep an eye on, is making sure everybody's having fun and can be involved in the hackathon. And given how this works, and you will, write a README or document for your project, there are tons of tasks that people can take on regardless of their experience level, to help contribute to the project, including just coming up with ideas, right? That's probably the most important part. Like, when you're stumped on something that you've gone through or tried to go through with the hackathon, you might get to a point where you need to come back to your team and say, okay, I can't get this to work, so does anyone have new ideas? Where that's why you have a big team, and that's why you have people of various experience levels and backgrounds. And for team members, it's really, have fun, learn some new things, right? We want everyone to learn new things here. We want everyone to have fun and collaborate with new people and make new connections. So yeah. So that's kind of all I have. Here's our committee. And like I said, reach out to any of the people here. Some of you may know these people. And I'll be sure we put our emails in the chat as well, or you can check out our website. We do have a contact form there. But feel free to reach out to any of us about the hackathon or anything related to it. And our sponsors. And so questions, this is the time to ask. If you have any ideas, if you're interested in a project, this is a good time to ask us anything.
Well, I already asked my students to apply for a member. I don't know whether they'll be approved or not, but I do have a project and I'll be posting it soon. And I'm looking for 2 people. I'm trying to publicize my work over here so that I can attract some talent.
Awesome.
Yeah, and the work is related to personalized drug discovery. And in this, I'm trying to build a tool that screens screens the omics data with respect to the cancer drugs, and try to predict whether the drug will be effective or not on that person for a particular type of cancer. So what I lag is the biologist. Means anybody who has some idea on understanding the biology part. I think I would like to work with them. In my team, I have, as I said, I have a high school, I have an undergraduate student. I'm working on the tool by myself. It's a research work. The tool has not been conceived yet. and which is what I want to do in the hackathon. Like in 2 days, we just try to build that tool. I have the models. I just put in the models and make that tool working. But biologists, they are needed to guide and perform right kind of experiments. So I'll be posting up the project, and they may think of whether the project is as per their interest or not.
That sounds great. We definitely we're looking forward to hearing more about that project. I think I saw that you'd registered, so I was like, how can I get him to submit a project? So I'm glad to hear that you're going to submit one, because I think your expertise will be
My objective is to build a team, because I want to build once the team is there, then I can carry on with the project.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I will say definitely reach out to us, and we can, like I said, we want to consult with our team leaders once people provide sort of their preferences, and looking at some of the skill sets and making sure that you have like those people on your team as well.
Great, thanks.
Absolutely. Any more questions or thoughts? I posted there a couple of unassigned projects we had submitted so far. We do have, I want to say, 8 other project proposals right now that look pretty good. But here's a couple others that were submitted by people who, if you're interested in taking on a project and you don't have an idea, those are somewhere to get a couple ideas from if you want to take those. Dr. Matt Alexander submitted one that's pretty cool if you're into muscle work. Any more questions about anyone?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So are the teams going to be decided based on projects, or is it based on team leaders?
So it'll be based on the preference form is how we'll come up with the teams. And then we'll say, here to the team leaders, here your team members are. Typically, it's never an issue, because usually people end up gravitating towards projects because of their passions, and it works out well. And given the amount of people we've got signed up so far, we anticipate that won't be an issue, that once we show those lists to team leaders, really that's for people who've like work in the same lab and they're like, hey, this person, I really want that person on my team because we worked on that in our lab. Can you make sure they're on my team? But again, like I said, it'll usually come down to the preferences, and unless there's something really, yeah, that's, I can't see any other thing about that, but yeah. Team leads will get to sort of, if there's overlap or people who have the same preference, and there's too many people on a team, that may be where you see people put on the second highest preference they have. Every now and then at hackathons that happens where you have like one idea that everybody wants to be part of, but we'll see what happens this year. I think there's a good spread of ideas. We've got a little machine learning, got a little bit various diseases. So I think it'll be interesting this year. I hope that answers that, Shannon.
Yes, that answered it. Thank you.
Any more questions? Did I convince anyone to be a team leader here? Okay, I got you, Raul. I got Raul. Okay, that's enough. Take it. Like I said,
I would say, are there biologists attending right now? Would they connect and understand my project so that?
Yeah, I'm a more biology background.
Yeah. Oh, Radomir, you're in my team, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, of course. I think that's.
I'll get you. I'll snatch you from others.
Sure. No, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say, yeah, you know, it's all about just getting out there, having some crazy ideas, seeing if you can accomplish them. Just have fun. Science is fun, right? Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
I think so. And also, like I said, we really want to connect more people. It's good to see a lot of faces here today, and a lot of people who we hope you guys will either submit ideas, a few of you, and a few of you I know should be excited to participate. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and you get to learn a lot. And like I said, hey, I mean, there's the other benefits too. I mean, you do have the ability, if your project really takes off and a lot of people are excited about it, and you end up finding something novel, and there you go. That's a
I'm looking
potential
for fun.
publication. Yeah, it's a potential publication there. And this
No,
is
I'm
also,
looking for funds.
huh?
Right? I'm
Oh
looking
yeah,
for
that
funds.
too. Absolutely. For people, for early career scientists and postdocs, it's work that you can use for that. And also your portfolio, right? Getting on GitHub, and if you're doing any kind of computational work in your thesis project, or if you're an early career scientist and you want to be able to showcase some of the work you've done, and or you're a high school student or undergrad and you're wanting to do a PhD in this kind of stuff, it's excellent to have this out there, that you've done this, that you know how to collaborate, that you've networked, and you build a network too, because the network of people doing computational biology is still relatively small, compared to some other fields. And so you start knowing people, and that's how you get opportunities. And so yeah, this is a great opportunity, and I would encourage you guys, if you know any other people who are interested in registering, please.
Are there the medical school higher official going to work with us, like moderators?
Yeah, so we will have, they're not here today, but we will have people in the Informatics Institute.
Because the tool that we are going to that we'll try to develop on those 2 days is of direct benefit. It's a kind of recommender system for cancer physicians, so they can use the predictions based to treat patients. So this is something that they might be interested to know, and just want to spread words so that they can come up and say, hey, they lay down the requirements. I don't have a requirements. So I would like to put up I will put up my project proposal. And I want a requirement statement from them. Okay, it looks like, I'm pretty sure they will like the idea that, okay, this is a tool that is going to give us the recommendations based upon the cancer profile of a patient. So I want requirements from them. Okay, these are the features they expect from a tool.
Yeah, we can definitely reach out and make sure that you get that kind of information. Absolutely.
Great.
And thanks for letting us know, so we can help and get you in touch with the right people.
Yeah, that will be amazing.
Okay. That's great. We're getting close to 11. If anyone has any more questions, comments, thoughts, ideas. There's a lot of cool stuff out there with multi-omics. People using single cell and transcriptomics, bulk RNA-seq data, and trying to identify subtypes of diseases. I think that's probably one of the more common directions we see this going in. It's a little bit harder to get your hands on phenotype data at times, but even with that, that's a pretty big place where, from a clinical perspective, it's really difficult to categorize or classify diseases. So that's always a really fun one. So if you guys have ideas, like I said, please submit them. Even if you don't want to be a team leader and you have an idea, submit it. Well, okay, unless there's any other questions, I will let you guys go. And like I said, let's see if I'll put my email in there. My email and the chair's email, Tarun. Feel free to reach out to us. And also, you can use the contact form as well. So yeah, thank you guys for coming. I was gonna say, Mehmet, did you get the information you needed? We're excited about you potentially submitting a project as well. I don't know if you're available to talk or not.
Yeah. Hi, Sharita. Thank you for
Hey, how are
organizing
you?
this. This is very nice to catch up. Yeah, it's a lot of information. We're trying to wrap up some ideas and then hopefully submit something and then be useful in the event. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the hope.
We're excited about that. Yeah, guys, I think, like I said, you guys are gonna have your socks blown off. So yeah, get ready for all that good stuff. But it's gonna be great. So yeah, on that note, have a great Friday. I appreciate all of you for coming. We're looking forward to hacking away with you guys. So see ya.
Take care.
Thanks, Sharita.